So I was looking at the authors. All of them concur that physical activity for older adults is beneficial in reducing depression. And so that's where I was going to pull it together over here, right here.
Okay.
What do you think?
So you're saying Cunningham et al. And Reiner and Watts
Yes.
both agree on that aspect?
Yes.
How do they differ?
Well, so I have that here already in my paper. So right here, where it says that Cunningham indicated physical activity reduced depression risk by 17% compared with those with lower levels of physical activity. Right here, Reiner and Watts also said that the effects of exercise are beneficial, but may be equally or more effective with psychotherapy or pharmacotherapy.
Right. So they're making different points. And I remember you had these in one sentence together, correct?
I did. And the reason I pulled them apart and I put that over in my comment here is that the percentages, they did not, I couldn't pull percentages from both. Because Reiner and Watts, they have theirs set up a little differently. So they didn't really, they weren't really clear on percentages.
Right. And that's fine. If they don't have it, they don't have it, and don't worry about that. But I was telling you, you could have sort of a dichotomy sentence where you say Reiner and Watts said there are 17% lower levels of whatever. And whereas these other people said this, or they found this. One other option to what you're doing is sort of maybe even starting a new paragraph before the word according to Cunningham et al. 2020,
Okay.
5 lines up. You could sort of create the sort of the framework or the organization for this synthesis in a first sentence. Studies by Cunningham et al. And Reiner and Watts 2016 have both shown, or have both suggested, or both emphasized, you could say, emphasize the and I forget what they're actually both agreeing on, but talk about what they agree on. And then you could say, and then you're sort of elaborating on that initial sentence and saying, here's what one study did as opposed to what the other study did. So Cunningham studied, sometimes you'll put in the sample size. You'll say studied 200 people that were in nursing homes and so forth, and found this, whereas, and then a new sentence probably, similarly, Reiner and Watts found this. Just anything to sort of an initial sentence. I don't know. What do you think of that there?
I like that. So instead of putting it here, I can actually start with it up here.
Right. That's, and just say how they agree, and then get into what they did a little bit differently.
Okay.
And you don't need to include everything. So if, like, let's say prostate cancer is just has nothing to do with your study and is not interesting at all, which I don't know why I chose that, but let's say it wasn't interesting, and would be like a sort of a distraction to what you're sharing. You're not necessarily doing anything bad or wrong by saying, oh, by the way, they also found this thing about prostate cancer. Okay, you can focus on the things that are most relevant to your study. And you don't, as long as you know, you just don't need to mention everything if you don't feel it's, what if they just said, what if they added in there older adults who are physically active also like to drink beer? Okay, well, good for them, but no need to put that in your lit review. I'm being a little silly, but what I'm trying to say is if you can't make an argument for relevance, leave it out. So I think all these things are probably important, but they're not all good, right? Oh, yeah, they are good. Reduced cardiovascular fatality, prostate and breast cancer frequent falls. Injuries. Yeah. So these are all sort of positive health effects. So reduced risk of all these potential issues. And then Cunningham, oh, that's still Cunningham. So you might just say, you don't have to use 2020 there. If you're continuing with Cunningham, you can just say Cunningham et al. Found that older adults, in that second sentence.
This one?
Yeah. Found that older adults.
So
let me, I think this will be good. So hold on just a sec. So you don't even have to mention Cunningham in the second sentence. You can say, because it's obvious, we're continuing the thought. I always ask for either an overt citation or an implied citation. And this would be an implied citation, right? Does that make sense? I know I'm being super nerdy right now. That's sort of what I get paid to do. All right, so you can say, so this is a continuation. I would say, take out Cunningham et al. And say, with regard to depression, comma. And then take out the next two words.
Yep.
And part of this will get like old when I'm like, tell you what to do when you already know what to do, but that's always one of the risks of working together. With regard to depression, older adults with higher levels of physical activity reduced depression risk. I would say maybe experienced 17% less risk of depression. I don't know. If you don't, sometimes I just give ideas. And if you don't like it, you can be like, I like it the way it is. And I'll tell you if I really think, like, oh, this is a really important change versus, oh, this is my opinion. I think it's good. What do you think of that? Small change, but a little bit cleaner.
No, I like it. I guess I'm so used to citing everything.
No, that's good.
So you don't think that I would be asked to cite that?
No, because it's implied from the previous sentence.
Okay, so if there's an implication there, I don't have to.
Correct.
Okay.
So we just learned something, right?
You did.
And that's useful from now on forever. So yeah, it's implied. It's really obvious. Like, are you talking about a brand new article? Obviously not. You're just, the second sentence is sort of it's sort of like zooming in on one aspect, that last aspect of the first sentence where you mentioned and depression. And then you say, with regard to depression, older adults with higher levels of PA reduced or had reduced depression risk by 17% compared to those with lower levels of physical activity, right? So it's an elaboration on the first sentence.
Okay.
Very clear that you're still talking about the same study. And that's an assumption we can make as readers. So, yeah.
Okay, so I will start this paragraph off with tying the two together.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to look at anything else, or do you want me to tie it together?
No, I don't know. Are you good with, do you know how to word it, or do you want?
I think so. I think so. Let me see. Let me try.
Okay, I know it's sort of like performance anxiety stuff going on, maybe.
It is a little. It is a little.
You'll get hopefully, if we do this more, you'll get used to it. But because my goal is just to be like, to help you, but not too much and not too little, right?
I also stopped knowing how to type.
Yeah, no, that I've seen this many times.
It's so strange.
Not from you, but many times. I'm just going to look at my can of Zevia.
Okay.
Sponsor of this video.
Oh. I'm wondering.
You might put research by or studies by at the very beginning.
Okay.
Is that what you were wondering, or what else?
No, I was wondering.
Both.
But this is better. This is better.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering if I should start off with my sentence and then at the end put all authors in there.
Oh.
You know what? Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I like this presentation better because it sort of introduces, there are two articles,
Okay.
you know, and studies by Cunningham et al. And Reiner and Watts, 2016, both found, or both emphasized the whatever, you know, needs to be in your words and not mine. So,
well, your words are always helpful too, because sometimes it's a good combination, or it gives me an idea of something better.
so the essence of what you're trying to say, and I would use the word both in front of found, but the essence of what you're trying to say, both found.
Both found? Okay.
Yeah, that's, people are gonna watch this video and be like, man, he's bossy. Yeah, found that basically the essence is right, that physical activity decreases risk of depression, right? I think that's what you told me.
Yes.
And word it however you want, obviously. Yeah, and if you get to another sort of section that you want to look at, I'll take a break from what I'm doing and switch back over.
Okay.
But see how this sort of sets up. A lot of people, when you talking about paragraphs, they use the word meal plan, which is a main idea sentence first, which is the M, obviously. Perfect.
Okay.
Just take out that extra space in front of both, please.
I will.
I have robot eyes that see things like that. Yeah, and now you sort of set up the paragraph. Okay, now you're going to elaborate. That's meal plan, main idea first. E is elaborate. So that's what you're doing. A is something like analysis. And then L is link out or linkage. Meal plan, MEAL. I don't really subscribe to it so much, but that's what you're essentially doing. Don't forget that analysis part would be the critique that I suggested. Hey, when you notice anything weird, a small sample size, a weird methodology, somebody interviewed their mom, there's a conflict of interest, anything about the study that if anybody else read the article the way that you're just typing the findings and saying, holy cow, they said men are smarter than women. And then you're like, yeah, I'm going to present these findings, but I think my readers should know they only, they compared grown men to, I don't know, 18-year-old women or something. I don't know, something ridiculous that sort of twisted the findings to be biased or maybe inappropriate. Although studies have found men to be smarter than women, this study compared, very mature, grown professors to 18-year-olds who are consumed with TikTok, right? So point out anything that the reader should understand, like, hey, when I tell you these findings, you need to know this.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool?
Yes.
All right, do you care if I use this video?
The video, or is it a recording?
It's a recording, which will be a video.
A video of my paper?
It's not about your paper, it's about this process. So I would use this to show to another student if you allowed it. And it's not a big deal if you don't want me to, but I would show this, have this available for other students to be like, oh, well, I can learn that too based on watching this video of Goodin interacting with the student.
Okay, yeah, that's
If
fine.
you don't want your face seen on YouTube, be honest about that, because I really respect that.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Probably no.
Okay, that's fine.
But
I may do it and just
as a report.
crop out your face.
Okay.
Just cut it off. But it could have your voice.
Okay. That's okay.
Voice all right?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
It'd be hard to cut out your voice though.
Yes.
No, I just was like, okay, whenever and this is why I record all my meetings generally. Because when I have a good conversation, I don't necessarily want to have that conversation 2,000 more times in my life.
No.
And if we captured it, then I want to, as if my student's comfortable, you in this case, I want to just put it online so that somebody else can watch that and be like, oh, I didn't know that either, and then, So anyway, that's the goal.
Yeah, no, that's
All right,
okay.
I'm going to stop this recording though.